Callie.
Yeah,
California.
That's cute. Yeah.
her full name is California Jane, but
Oh,
we call it Callie because it's
Even-
easier.
even as a middle name, I like it. Swanky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
What?
Trying to find mine.
I just
I
like
keep-
extremely standard names for animals like Glenn, Greg, Pete, Phil.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
I keep telling him that we're going to get another dog and name it Chico.
Can we?
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's do it. I'm gonna eat some more of these pommiers though.
So for the last 4 months, I've been saying, "Hey, let's get another dog," and you're like, "No, no, no." But as soon as I say, "Hey, let's name it Chico," you're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yes."
Mhm.
Fuck, I should have led with that because I thought about that like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
No,
Yeah, we're
not.
gonna get another dog.
No, we're not.
You're not the boss of me, Tom.
You don't get a pommier. You have cherries.
Fuck off.
Fuck you.
Okay. All right.
One
Is
for you, one for your sister.
everyone here? There's
Mhm.
one person missing.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try sharing a screen.
Silver and Amanda around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. I'm just hang on. I'm just trying to figure out.
While you do that, DPS Lucigo, can I have your permission to change Amanda's name to Salamander?
I'm sure
Yeah.
he'd love that, eh? He'll love it.
I think you should name it Saladmander.
No, Salamander.
No, fuck off,
Now,
dog.
and considering that you're recording, it is now proof that I didn't do this on my own. I had your permission.
You've been stitched up there, DPS. Ah, you've been intubated.
Oh my god, Titan, I love your babies.
Yeah, they're cute. They're just hanging out with me in the toilet.
Oh my god, mine does that.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn on the aircon because it's
Also, apologies in advance if the bird's eyes are bullshit because
no, they're fine. They're fine. Hey Siri, turn on. Oh, sorry. Hey Siri, set living room relax. Okay, all right, cool. So we're going to start off with Oasis. Tamagoyaki has actually written a lot of detailed stuff. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, Tama, but like I've had a look at a few of them and they're all pretty good. So what I might do is I might give it to you guys to have a look in your own time because he's provided quite a she? I'm actually not too sure. Sorry, I don't want to assume or anything.
he's a he.
He's a he. Okay.
Don't touch me with punches, are okay? We don't touch that shit.
Oh my god. Tama, I do have permission to mute you if you start tonight, so
What?
Senpai's giving me permission to mute you
Okay,
if need be.
fine.
Okay. Anyway, so all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through. You guys, I don't know how Senpai and other coaches have done it, but the way I like to do things is I like to try and deal with what I think are core issues and core things that you guys can work on. And I like to keep it really simple. So a lot of the details that I've seen and a lot of the stuff that I think Tama's raised are symptoms of these issues that I'd like you guys to work on. And there are actually issues that even on Masters and Diamonds, Masters, and even some GM teams that I've played on and been playing against, they make these same mistakes. Okay, so it's really, really easy. So there's 3 concepts I really want to work with you guys on. So I'm gonna play this. I'm going to reduce this volume a little bit. Okay. So first fight, that was really good. Wait, why does it pause? Okay. First fight went pretty well. I don't know if that's my internet or if that's the video. Okay, so you decided not to push them, and that's good as well. Now, okay, this bit. What you're about to see is why I think you lost the fight pretty quickly. So if you have a look over here, you've pushed up. So you can't see my cursor, can you?
We can.
Oh, I can
Yeah,
see
we
that.
can.
It's
you can?
sort of pixelated. I can't really make out the guys, but yeah.
Okay, but you can make out the kind of
Yeah.
the white moving thing, yeah. All right, so this area is one of the chokes, right? And this area here are also chokes. The challenge that you have, so I want you to remember the way it was described to me once was done really, really well. He called it like CCTV views, so like security cameras. So he had the idea, the concept that basically what you want to do is when generally defenders will have an advantage, okay, because they have to walk into you generally. So what he was saying was to take angles and to take corners. So a very typical thing that, especially in comp, that you hear is group up, like stay together, and that's not necessarily. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just reading a message from Senpai. So just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, yeah. So when they say group up, they're like generally people think like forming one big group of people and standing on the payload, or using that group of people and then moving together, and like trying to destroy whatever they have in their way. And that works really well for things like when Goats was around, because you would just like brute force your way into everything. The problem now is, now that Goats is not really a thing anymore, what you want to do is you want to take angles, because you're basically making the team look in several different directions. So I'll show you what happens here. So you guys are there now. A couple of the times, like a lot of the times you win the fight, it's not, and I don't mean to say anything negative, but it's more because I think a lot of it's because they were not as good as you guys. Now, obviously that's obvious, but I think it's more that they just didn't know how to deal with the situation. Whereas if they were of the same skill level in terms of mechanical skill, but they applied what I'm trying to teach you right now, they would have overrun you easily. Okay, so I want you to think about this. If they come out the left side, so currently you're there. If they come out the left side and they come out this way, you would have been sandwiched, you would have been pincered, and you would have had to back up to point really quick. Now here, Lucio, not to point you out, but so that whole idea of grouping up again that I'm talking about, and flanking, Lucio, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to make a play and stuff. But what I want you to think about, and this applies to all heroes, everyone that's playing, is when you are putting yourself like you can see it's basically one line, right? You guys are here, they are there, so they only need to look in one direction to see all of you. When Lucio, you come in and you're trying to make a play, you're basically dead center in the middle of them. Everyone can see you. They are 100% aware of you. And they're going to, the chances of you surviving are a lot less than if you'd say come around the outside or flanked. Does that make sense? And you got the advantage of speed. So I'm not picking on you in any way, but
it wasn't a. I wasn't warm, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm not used to playing Lucio, so.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, anyway, the point is not to pick on your play, but
Lucio the character or DPS Lucio the
No, me.
person?
I'm playing Lucio.
Lucio.
Okay.
Lucio.
The
So
character.
Just making
Lucio
sure.
dies here first. You'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, because I mean, not because he died, but that was definitely a disadvantage because you're already down your AOE healer, and yeah, the fight kind of steamrolls, and you guys just pull back. Small point. Now you guys are talking about stalling the point. That's a great idea. Okay. And you mentioned, I think later on you managed to get like 10 to 20% on the clock. So what you want to do, if you are stalling, is try to have as little bodies on the point as possible, and then you rotate in and out. So in the case of D.Va and Reaper, you might have D.Va on the point and then slowly backing off the point. Meanwhile, Reaper comes on, and what's really important is that you work on your cooldowns. Okay, so if Reaper, for example, has his cooldowns ready, like Fade, but D.Va doesn't have boost on, then D.Va should be backing out. Try and hide. And then they have to choose basically, do they chase D.Va and potentially, not cap the point. Meanwhile, they have to deal with Reaper that's behind them, or do they turn their attention to you because you're now on the point as Reaper? Does that make sense? So, good idea, good concept. What I want you guys to think about in future is to rotate 1 or 2 bodies onto the point at any given time. And remember, your goal is not so much to kill, even though if you find an opportunity, that's great. But your goal is to just stall and then come off, go back on. One of the coaches that has coached me before calls it he calls it like on and off. So basically, you're hiding behind, you're off, then you come in, you're on, then you go back, you're off, and you basically you can stall it out massively because they're constantly trying to have to change their focus. Okay, so that's a small concept for you guys to think about when you want to stall the point.
I like it.
So positioning is the first thing I really want you guys to think about. You'll see for a lot of these fights, and I'm not gonna run through the whole video, but you'll see for a lot of these fights, basically it's like I liken it to 2 trains trying to charge at each other, and the train that wins is the one that happens to have, the most like force or the most luck or whatever. So you don't want to make it 2 trains attacking each other. You wanna have it maybe people on 2 different angles. Now, I'm going to stop here for a second, and I'm going to come to Hanamura because I want to talk about this concept again of taking angles. Let's see. So now we're talking about dive. You guys were working on dive. Dive. Hang on a sec. So dive is something that a lot of teams are still trying to figure out right now as to whether it's viable. I think against this team, definitely viable. But what I want you guys to think about is, again, the angles. Okay, so unlike defense in Oasis, where you should have taken 2 different angles. Imagine this is the Oasis University Square. Okay, and you take like one angle here, another angle here, another angle here. So they have 3 different directions to look at. Imagine that this is the platform in Oasis. You guys are following me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like maybe someone up here. So then they would have to send someone to chase you down, but you could back out, and then that's one person potentially wasted. But you have access to the point here. And meanwhile, you have people here that can go in and out, You have another person here that can back up. So by having all these angles, when they rock into the point, they have to basically look in 3 different directions, and then they have to pick a target. Okay. So the same principle goes with attacking. When it comes to things like dive, what's the number one advantage with dive? Can you guys tell me? Or one of the major advantages of dive, like in terms of the heroes, mobility. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, perfect. So have a look over here. What you're gonna see is you guys will basically. I remember here you were like, what should I do as Winston, and then you're like, just dive. So here. Winston's diving, which is not necessarily bad. But the rest of the team are all the way back here. Mercy's just rezzed Farah. So the fight was initiated by Winston, but no one is backing him up. Okay? So so this is a little bit of team coordination. I think you got sorry, was it Winston? Oh, Ball. Hang on, let me go back again. Yeah. So 2 of you dive while the rest of your team are just trying to get themselves sorted. So a tactic that worked really well that I saw recently was the dive tanks went up here. You guys can see my cursor, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
They went up here. And then so they split up into 3. So they had a healer with the dive tank. So if they got pushed, they wouldn't just get overrun necessarily. And then the other team was here, okay? And then what happened was these guys moved all the way here. This team, or the defending team, obviously they can see these guys. So they've now got a choice. They can either push those guys, which would be hard because dive teams, like dive, has very high mobility. So that's really not a viable option. So the second option is to regroup and get ready for the attack. And then what these guys did was they jumped from here and met these guys that were coming out here together. And they all collapsed into the team at the same time. The team that was sitting here had they were just in chaos. They were looking all over the place. They're looking left, right, up, down. because they were surrounded. They didn't know which target to pick, and we had shot callers. So we were the defending team. We had shot callers saying, "Oh, yada 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 yada." But because they were in the middle of the fight, they didn't have a very good sort of bird's eye view or overview of the situation. So they would basically pick the target that was right in front of them. Meanwhile, another tank here might have been getting attacked by a flanker. Healers that might have backed up over here might have been getting attacked by someone else. So it was a real mess, and the whole thing collapsed really quickly. Now think about the mobility and watch how you guys are operating as a dive team. And basically you'll see that you never really coordinated that well. You come over here to the second point. Now, dive is so good here, especially because they are running a Mei, right? So Mei's biggest strength is that she can wall and disrupt, right? But what do you guys end up doing? You end up going as one group. Yeah, and you guys are filtering in as if you're running like Ryan Zarya or Issa Sigma. When you guys have dive tanks, like what you could have done as an example is you could have gone to this window as dive tanks. Tracer could have blinked in, baited wall maybe, and then when wall was down, everyone commits. Meanwhile, there are tanks over here, so the team that's up here are like starting to freak out. Do I look this way? Do I look this way? What do I do? What do I do? They maybe start giving you ground because they don't know what to do, or they might try and push you. But you guys are quite mobile, so you can back off pretty quickly. And then what you do is you have a shot caller that says, "Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1." Then you all dive together and attack this person from different angles. Okay, and it just creates a lot of chaos. But your comp was perfect for that, but you guys ran it as if you're running like Ryan Zarya. Does it make sense?
Yeah. 100%.
So first thing first thing is angles. Okay, that's number one. And then overlapping that, number 2 is comp. So you need to understand what I want you guys to do is I want you to understand how your comp works against their comp, okay, and how your comp, like what are the strengths of your comp, and you kind of need to work this out. Like one of the really bad things that again, even teams that I've been on have done is literally as the doors are opening from spawn, they're like, "Oh, okay, let's pick this hero and let's do that," and no one really knows what they're doing. But what I want you guys to think about is be really intentional about what heroes you pick. Don't I am familiar with eggs. Okay, I used to because I wanted to just muck around on a low-level team. I went and joined eggs for a while, and they are horrible at listening. They refuse to accept that they're wrong. Okay, so it's quite interesting that you were telling me about that you guys scrimmed eggs. But one of the things that they never really understood is how the comp works. So they will say brawl, they will say dive, they will say all these catchy in meta like cool phrases, but they understand what the comp looks like, but they don't understand how that comp actually applies. So this is sort of an example of what you want to do and understand the comp. So I'm going to take you to wait, where is it? It was Oasis, yes, Oasis, and it was this map. Okay, again, I'm going to lower the volume. Sorry. Okay, so you made the call to take high ground. That's a fair call. But my question now is, with your comp, why are you taking high ground? So have a think about this. There may be a very valid reason, but I want you to have a look at something. So we all go up. You guys have bigger dicks. That's cool. Okay, all right. So you guys are here. Okay. Now, the amount of damage that you guys can deal to them is very minimal because your heroes, Reaper and Mei, your damage dealers. I mean, Mei, I guess, has some long range capability, but typically she's not a high damage healer, right? Dealer. And then you've got Reaper, which is definitely a close range hero, and you've got Ryan, definitely close range hero, and you've got Lucio, which is good pairing with Ryan to help speed him in. So currently, again, think about your comp and think about why, like, you've taken high ground. That's a good thing, right? But with your comp, it doesn't really make much sense. And what they have in exchange is they've got Doomfist, who can basically come annoy you and get out, and they've got Ash, who can basically pepper down your shield and do a fair amount of damage, so that when you eventually do decide to commit, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So if you ever see a situation like this, like maybe you want to get high ground because maybe you want to stop them from getting high ground initially, that's a good call, right? And that's still fine with this comp versus that comp. You want to stop them from having the advantage, because if they took high ground, you would be at a slightly, like, they would have a little better range on you and stuff. So taking high ground's not a problem. But as soon as you understand that they've not taken high ground, and as soon as you realize that they've got a lot of long range heroes, what you want to do is you want to take away that advantage from them. So Lucio, you're very good as you can be very good as a shot caller. You got good positioning here in the sense that you have a very good overview of the situation. So you can say, they don't have they don't have short range damage dealers. Let's speed into them. You speed, you amp them in, and you just sow a whole bunch of chaos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, not really.
Okay. Cool. So. Yeah. That's good. Then in that case, that was a very good call. Yeah. That's exactly what you want to do. Oh, sorry. Was someone saying something?
Yeah. Realistically, here, your choices are like, you see that Doom down there. I'm pretty sure he's been 2 abilities. You can card him and then get a free pick, or you cut angles and go into their team because you're a brawl comp.
Yep. Tama, you might want to turn your mic up just a tad bit.
Alright.
Cool. But yeah, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay, so first thing, again, as I mentioned before, is angles. Second thing is team comp and how the team comps work with each other. That's something I really want you to think about, which leads on to my third point, which is win condition. I don't know if you guys have really heard of it before. Have you heard of the term win condition?
Yeah, not in this game though.
Okay, so not in Overwatch.
No.
Okay, so Overwatch teams have win conditions. All right, so basically, when you look at the hero pool, it generally, the first fight is generally, assuming it's a similar heroes or whatever, it should generally be quite even if you look at the comparable skill of players. Then the win condition basically becomes what the team needs to do, what each team needs to do to basically build up an advantage that can almost guarantee them a win in a fight. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If you had Hanzo and Zarya, then probably one of the number one win conditions would be getting Grav and getting Dragon ready. Yeah. Then to pair that up with that win condition would be if the enemy team has, and you'll see it later. I think your Zarya, Dr. Disconnect, was saying I'm getting ready to Grav, and you actually, is Dr. Disconnect here?
Yeah, it's me.
Cool.
Bench
Yeah.
warmer.
So you made the comment, which is a good call, of I've basically got a free Grav. Yep, because Zen had used his ult. I'll move it forward, see if I can find it. Anyway, while I'm looking for it, you basically made the call that I've got a free Grav, but you missed one key important thing, and that was lamp. So being aware of that, obstacle to your win condition will make you, you can call out, make sure as soon as I Grav, you focus down lamp. Or what you can also do is you can try and pressure Baptiste, or pressure and try and give a lot of AoE damage to their tanks, so that Baptiste has to bring out lamp. because otherwise they're going to be at a really big disadvantage. And then as soon as they lamp, you either destroy it or you wait for it to expire, and then you have your free grab. So win condition. What, based on these comps, do you think your win condition is?
I'd probably go as far as say Shadow. Or just
Shadow?
Assault Blizzard. Yeah,
Shadow,
something like
May.
Yeah.
Sorry, go. But okay, when I say win condition, I also mean something that will give you a definitive win. May wall, may give you a win if you manage to wall off enough people. But generally, like if you're playing competitive, for example, you would expect that when that person does their ult and does it well, it should be a team wipe.
Like a Shadow Noon or something here. I don't know.
Yeah, like a Shadow Noon. In fact, you've got 4 potentially. They don't really combo. They can. But you do have like potentially 4 win conditions here, with Zarya's Grav, McCree's ult, and so on. So what you want to be doing is you want to be communicating with your team what win condition you're going to be focusing on for the next fight. Okay, and there's a few things you can do to do that. One is obviously you need to be checking your ults regularly, and this comes to ult tracking. And that's a side seg, and I think Tama also mentioned ult tracking as well. So that's something that you need to be looking at. I heard you guys occasionally talking about what the enemy team has, and that's good. Generally, if it's hard for you to track all their ults, then generally what I would suggest is supports track the support ults, tank ults, and so on. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That way it's a lot easier. Generally, if the fight's generally quite even, you have a pretty good sense of where they're at. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different win conditions here. So you want to be communicating what your win condition is, and then basically you want to be working off that. At the same time, you want to understand what their win condition is. So their win condition is very similar. It's going to be Shatter. It's going to be maybe Shatter and Doom ult. Definitely, Bob in the right circumstances can cause you a lot of problems. So you want to think of it like a lock and key. You want to unlock your win, and unlocking your win will depend on you getting the right key. And the right key will basically, how keys have a particular shape. Just try and think about forming that key correctly by understanding what ults will match with each other. So in this particular situation, if you wanted to grab Dr. Disconnect, then the challenges for you would be Lamp and obviously Trance, right? Those would probably be the big deterrent, big antis for your win condition. So you want to be playing off that at all times. You want to be tracking what ults they have, and you want to be figuring out, there may be even times, for example, that you want to go basically, I've got 2 people here, I don't have a full team, but I can guarantee that they're going to die because Zen has only just respawned. You may get a lot better value as Zarya grabbing those 2 people instead of grabbing everyone, taking them out, stalling them for a bit longer, and now Zen's ult becomes kind of less useful, right? So he's going to either choose to do one thing, one of 2 things. Either he's going to be dumb and save it for the next grab, which could potentially take forever, or number 2, he's going to try and use it to try and give an advantage to the team later on. In parallel, so for example, say someone like Lucio, who has a very good defensive ult, if you're standing at say 98% or 97, 90, whatever, in the 90s, and you're about to engage, and they have something that can potentially, let's say they have Sigma, then your win condition may be, let's not engage straight away. I want to, wait a little bit longer. Just let's hang back a little bit, just long enough for me to guarantee that I've got my beat, and then let's go in. And then once you go in, you're already at a slight advantage. There are some times, I might just let it play. There are some times that you guys engage in a fight. Actually, I think University was yeah, I'm going to switch back to University. There is a fight in University where you're almost It's almost 1. And you guys, if you'd waited just a little bit, here, let me show you. Your target calling is good. That's very good communication. So keep that up. That's definitely very good. Actually, I think it was earlier.
Just letting you know, though, we can't hear the sound for the video. We can only see the video.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Yeah, you don't need to hear the audio too much. I don't think.
Oh, I can hear it.
I can make comments about the
Can you hear it?
It's engraved into my soul.
Oh, shut up.
I've got
okay, there's something I want to show you guys here. So you guys engage. You chuck a May ult from afar, which is cool. Okay, and okay, so Ryan, and again, not singling you out in any way, but whenever all of you guys should be tracking your opposites, right? So whenever you engage with an ult, and Ryan, you have your shadow, so you should know that. Wait, what? Oh, wait, no. Hang on, you're red. Sorry, I got mixed up. You should be keeping a track of his ult. There is a good chance, especially because you're at 65%, and they've won the last fight, that they would have 100. They would have shadow. So when you engage with an ult that could potentially cripple them, desperation ensues, and a very good counter is what this Ryan did, which was he counter shadowed. Luckily, he didn't actually do much. So based on that, just bear that in mind. And really, as Ryan is one of the big jobs for you is to make sure you counter that, block it. And maybe it was a little further back. Okay, yeah, it's here. Okay, so you guys can't hear the audio, but someone says they have. Oh, there's only 4 of us. Now we have 5, and so they had 5 on point. And the person that I don't know who was saying that they had 5. You guys had 5, but if you see over here, so currently they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ryan here. You got 1, 2, 3 of you here, and I think a 4th person just came back. And then Reaper's respawning. Reaper's coming in. So there's now 4 of you. I don't know how clearly you can see the whole thing. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you guys are engaging now. Sorry, you guys are engaging with a slight disadvantage. There's 5 of you there, and I think you guys may have won this, or you may have lost it. You lost the fight. If you'd waited like maybe another 2 or 3 seconds, then at the very least you would have been even. So what another one of the biggest mistakes I've seen on a lot of teams, and this happens all the way up to GM, is people are fixated on trying to make a difference, and they forget that it's a team game. So just slow down. Don't panic. Take stock of where you're at. Understand how many people they have, and understand that you may give up an extra 2 or 3%, but in the end you can take it back, or you have an even chance of taking it back. Whereas if you engage straight away, which is what happened here, then you're actually at a disadvantage. And I mean, I think in the end you won, or maybe you lost. I can't remember this round, but you ended up. I think you won, but you took it all the way to 99%. Whereas you could have potentially flipped it and then won without them reaching overtime. Yeah, good calls. I know you can't hear them, but you guys are making good calls. You're communicating. That's a bit unfortunate.
Shatter down the pit.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
Don't worry, I played Ryan enough times. Get booped or sucked in the wrong direction, and you're just like, ah.
It was beautiful.
It would have been an
though.
epic. It would have been so epic, but yeah. Okay, so coming back to the first point again, not to harp on it. So here, if you had one person up here, or 2 people up here, even 1 person here. So imagine they come in here. This person here, if he needs to back up, he just rotates around. Now you've basically got 6. Yeah, person over here in the middle can come all the way back here. Remember, all you need to do to contest the point is literally just touch it for a short while and then back off. Touch it for a short while, back off. So you've got 1, 2, 3 down here, 4. So many different angles that you can defend this spot from, and they're under pressure because now it's overtime and you're the defenders. So they can't afford to go on and off, go on and off, go on and off. They really need to make something happen. And the only way they can do that effectively if you're taking all these different angles is to chase one of you down. So you always need to be aware of your escape routes. So any questions on that? So that's so number 1 was take angles. Number 2 is understand your comp. And number 3 related to that is understand your win conditions. Yeah, any questions?
No.
I have a mechanics question that
Yep.
may seem kind of dumb.
No.
Does Lucio's like verticality matter? Like, does it affect anything? Or okay.
No.
I think it's
So say I was on the ceiling, but I was like right above my team, just bouncing around the walls. It would still heal, or speed.
From
should.
what I remember, his healing is a cone. You'll need to. Don't take my word for gospel. I think you'll need to check this out. But I'm pretty sure his healing is a cone. So someone gave the example of Nepal, the indoor one.
Sanctum?
I think Sanctum. That's it. And Lucio would be redditing all the way up at the very, very, very top, but he'd still be able to heal people in the point.
Mhm.
So verticality, like you guys, you can definitely skirt around up here and still have an impact on the fight. What I want you to do as Lucio is there's several things that you do. So Lucio's advantage, especially when it comes to this particular comp, is that he can really, really help to make plays. Combined with Mei, which we don't have at the moment, but combined with Mei, like if Mei walls someone off, immediately you should be speeding, surrounding the team. Whenever you have amp, save your amp. Don't be like I started off as playing Lucio a lot, and I was really bad at just spamming E all the time.
Yeah.
And I would amp for no reason at all. Like it was almost like a OCD, like a nervous twitch thing for me to just keep pressing it. Whereas if you save it and then you see someone is low, like even if like Ryan is here, for example. So at the moment it's difficult to really make out, but there's a Doomfist here, I think. There's a Ryan here, and the closest other person over here is this dude over here. I think it's a Zen. I'm not sure. So what you could have done in this particular case, as an example, it's not necessarily the right call, but you could say, get Ryan, and you speed everyone around him. So everyone surrounds him. Some people stay here, other people get around him, and then his shield becomes useless. Okay, so you really want to. That's really good. And then the second thing that you would do with Lucio is you can make plays by booping people and separating people, similar to how Mei walls people off. But mechanically, that's a little trickier. So I understand you might have been trying to do it, if you remember, at the very, very first fight, or the second fight, sorry, because you took the point first. Second fight when I was commenting on you being out here. I understand you might have been trying to make a play like that. But just like being up in the air is also very good because you're out of sight, so they don't think about you. And then you might want to just drop down like a rock on them and just split them off. But always be aware of what your exit strategy is. You don't want to just drop down and go, okay, I'm going to speed out. But you're stuck in the middle of like 6 people, and they literally just have to melee you to death before you can get out. So, yeah.
Another good baseline as Lucio is when you're wall riding, you always wall ride above their head height so you can go for headshots. It gets your ult faster too.
Smart.
But of course, keep it within distance of your team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Isn't there an instance where like the Moira runs out of heals? Like you shouldn't be doing that as Moira.
I think he ran out.
It's like around here,
a couple
right?
times for us.
Hmm?
Running out of piss.
Yeah, sometimes.
Have you been like
Oh,
spamming right click or scroll wheeling to like get it back faster?
Yeah, I try and right click as much as I can, but there are times where it just slips my
Because if you
mind.
spam right click, it's a lot faster than just holding it.
Yeah. Oh wait. Spamming it is better than holding.
If you spam click
Yeah.
right click, it's much faster but does less damage.
True.
Fastest is scroll wheel, but I don't think they allow it in some tournaments.
So that like generates more.
No, that's because you're going for like tick every right click instead of tick every like.
Yep,
tick.
I getcha. I didn't even know that was a mechanic.
You do that,
Sweet.
and then instead of like healing all, like using up all your piss and then putting out an orb, you put out your orb at the same time and then piss on them.
Yeah. Sweet.
And always send your orb before you coalescence, and then you should
Yeah,
be fine
yeah.
tomorrow.
Do you tap your healing?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So you can either
Yeah.
tap or scroll wheel.
Tapping, if you tap, you'll always give a teammate 50 HP. Like let's
Yeah,
50
to
or
be
something
honest.
else.
I've never looked into the intricacies of Moira before. Like, yeah. But yeah, that's sick to know. That is very good to know.
So when you tap, they will start getting healed, and it has a like you could walk
There's
up to
a
someone,
free
tap,
chat, right?
yeah, and then you walk away, and they'll slowly get healed
Okay.
as a fall off kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not a fall off, but you know what I mean. So a good way of doing it to preserve your heals is just tap at different people, and then they all start to get healed, and then if you really need to, like you're really desperate, then you can just spray and pray kind of thing.
Cool.
And also
That's
keep
gonna
in
help a
mind,
lot.
the range of your heals is quite long, even though it doesn't look. It's like think it's about like 15 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 15.
Is it the same as right click or?
And I think right click is 20. Your right click is about the same as Roadhog.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah,
And
right hand is 20 meters.
Let's take a look at. I think King's Row was interesting. Let's take a look at another map, and we're going to watch the whole thing through. Oh, were you 2-0 up on them?
Yeah. This
Um,
personally wasn't a good one.
So I want you to watch this, and I want you to think about what we've talked about, and see what things you can pick up from it. It's so confusing when I can hear your voices in game. I can't actually tell if you guys are talking or you're not. You guys are talking about VPNing and Singapore service.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Now, this is a really good map. So, do you know the Team 52 Faces?
Oh, classic.
Okay, so
No.
okay, doesn't matter. Yeah,
Wait,
doesn't matter.
what-
I think
what's
they've disbanded. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
they're a GM/High Masters team.
Old one was better.
Oh, was it?
I was on the old one.
Okay. So I have a friend, and his name is Wizard Hyong. You may have heard of him. He's a tier 1 coach, so he coaches in Overwatch League. And I basically we played an open div game against 52 Faces, and we got rolled. And I basically said to him, look, there's like, if it's frustrating, I feel like they weren't better than us, but we did stupid things. And he pointed out some very interesting things. So anyway, let's watch this, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about it after the game's over, and then see what you guys can pick from this, because this map was King's Row is a very good map, and it's a very good map for working on your fundamentals.
I'm guessing we should have had 3 and 3, like 3 through hotel, and then sort of meet together.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very good. Yes, that's definitely what he suggested. Yeah, having a
That's
split
tough thing
attack.
to do if you're brawling.
Sorry, that's the top thing.
That's one of that's a really important thing to do if you're brawling and you need
Yeah.
to like force a play.
Yeah.
When I was like, I'm a Zarya main, but one of the important things as a Zarya is
Cleansing.
cleansing. Yeah, because there's an anti. That wasn't what I was thinking about, but one of the most important things, obviously, is getting charge. So when you're playing Zarya, when you want to get charge and you've got your personal, you want to stand right in the middle of where the damage is being dealt. So in this particular case, because again, you're talking like a group of people balling up, then you want to be right in the middle of that, right? But once you're highly charged as Zarya, again, you want to be flanking, you want to be taking really big angles. And just think about it. If you guys have 3 here and then 3 here, they may throw 100% of the damage at you, but they still will only kill or potentially kill 3 people. Whereas if they have to split their attention and they, throw some damage this way, this way, and they can't, if they don't have a good shot caller or if they don't make good decisions, they won't be able to they won't know what to do, and in the end, you might have an advantage because they especially when it comes to Rein, they'll have shields only facing in one direction, and you can do a heck of a lot of damage. Now here, I really think you should have lost this fight. I'm really surprised you didn't. Which is, But you had good focus, very good focus. Yeah, you're calling targets like crazy. Mm-hmm.
It really depends.
Yeah, it depends.
I
So,
think,
okay, go on. Yeah.
I think it's better if what off tank would you normally run if you do brawl? Firstly, do you do Zarya or do you do D.Va or both? You just
You
pick.
could do both.
I'd highly prefer to play Zarya, but I would play
Because
D.Va if
realistically, I
need to.
believe you can switch it around a lot, but Zarya or Rein can go either inside or outside, respectively. I think Zarya's better inside, my thoughts, but and then you bring a main Reaper, it's just free as you think.
Yeah.
Lucio should be outside, I think.
Are you talking about inside-outside tracks?
I think are we talking about flanking hotel and then
Yeah,
top
so
one
if you-
free
if
going
you
in?
were to-
Okay, yeah. So you're talking about, okay, yeah.
If we're talking about that, I think Lucio, Reaper or May, and Zarya or Rein outside. It's really up to and depends on where they're positioned as well. You have to keep that in mind.
So we were playing the comp that we had, which we were working on, was Orisa Sigma. Excuse me, Orisa Sigma, and it was Baptiste. Again, it may not be viable now, but anyway, that's what we were working on. Orisa Sigma, Baptiste, I think Moira, May, and maybe Hanzo. I can't remember. Anyway, did I name too many heroes?
TPS.
Baptiste, Moira, Sigma, Orisa, May, Hanzo. I think it was that. In that case, then May and Sigma. If you're on defense, for example, May and Sigma would go up here, and Baptiste, because he's got the ability to go up and down very easily, he'd probably go down and jump up here. And then May and Sigma have a very good ability to basically stall this outside track to make it very difficult for them to come around the outside if they split. And then on the inside, you would have Lucio to get you in and out. Oh, sorry, Moira, with the ability to fade, and then you'd have probably your main tanks. Sorry, your 2 tanks. Wait, no, sorry, Orisa. Hanzo can go anywhere he likes, and then you have Orisa along with Moira to basically keep this area, and then they can always drop if they need to help out. But you want to be keeping those angles. Cool.
I mean, isn't Orisa Sig still viable?
Yeah, it is. I think,
to a
but
degree.
I haven't been
You
playing.
have to play it a lot more differently than it used to be.
Yeah.
You don't have that insane sustain.
D.Va's getting a lot of play now, so I'll be curious to see.
Double Shield might be good to tackle D.Va, but who knows?
Mm. Yeah, bring out the shadow bombs. So, any comments about these particular fights?
So if you just rewind it back to the Blizzard, there, I'd probably say we're all a bit slow to turn around for the main.
Yeah.
When she was there, like it was just me and the Ryan on the main.
Yeah, you guys have basically split into two teams.
Yeah, we got the front line and the back line, and the back line and the front line.
Yeah, it's really good, Lucio. Just to highlight your play there, where you got them back together very quickly with the speed. So that was good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that first map was just not a very good map for me.
That's okay. No, yeah.
Like the rest of the time, I think I did pretty okay.
Yep.
Like very mediocre Lucio play. It's just the first one.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to be like super
Yeah,
Reddit to do well. Yeah.
I'm not Frogger. I'm good.
Now I had a comment about this. I can't quite remember what it was. Okay, I think the comment that I wanted to make about this particular thing was just being aware of their ults.
Mhm.
So understanding, like, you have to again remember what your win conditions are, and this is where I think win condition became a big thing that I wanted to talk about. You know that, like, especially if you've got ults, or depending on how the fight went, you have a pretty good idea with experience what they might have, and then you have an idea what they're probably going to engage with. And then once you have an idea what they're going to engage with, so for example, Dr. Disconnect, you had Grav, they had Grav, you would have a pretty good idea that they would have Grav.
Yeah.
So Grav might have been, like, in this case they didn't use it, but with that in mind, what's your counter to Grav? It might be stay split. It might be send your Rhine up so far ahead that they have to grab him and either run past him or kill him. But in the meanwhile, you have an ability to counterplay that. So yeah, have a think about your ults and win conditions.
Yeah.
Ult tracking is a big thing though.
Yeah, but then we also had Grav Dragon and didn't use it as well.
Yeah, that was
So I mean that's a good example of win condition. Now obviously they were dumb. They didn't think about it. But yeah, like the call. This is a good dragon. So the call you need to make about whether or not to save Grav for dragon. Sometimes it's not necessary. Like sometimes you're just trying to get a big combo. Ends up that you end up wasting a lot of time and just becomes pointless. Split them, yeah. It's good because it makes half of them back off, and it gives you an opportunity to take care of the 2 or 3 that move forward.
And I think in that case you actually split the supports off from them.
it's like an expensive Mei wall.
Yeah.
But I mean Hanzo built ult, so whatever. Yeah, exactly.
I like Hanzo being up there. So what you could have done, Hanzo, is you could have gone up here. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Someone said I died in mail because I'm dumb. Let's have a look at Ilios. I haven't actually seen the Ilios yet. Is there anything you guys want to look at? Because at the moment I've finished what I need to say. Tama, do you want to take over and mention the things? You've got a lot of very specific things that they could be going through. Do you want me to go through it?
Yeah, I gave them. I put the notes in the chat, so you can download it whenever.
do you guys want to go through, or do you want to let's see? So again, I'm more a macro person. I like to see the big picture. I think Tama's very good at micro. Do you guys want to go into micro, or do you want to continue? Like, you guys can do that in your own time, I guess, as well.
I do find, like, as like someone who does like attempt to shot call, I do find the micro very much more interesting.
Okay, the as in like the individual
down.
plays. Okay,
Learning,
cool. Let's do
learning
that.
macro is good and all, but like if you miss so many micro things, they eventually become a major problem.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
good doing
I mean,
both.
that's the thing as well. I'm not used to this format. I'm just a fucking pub warrior.
Yeah, well, that's
we all start
that's-
somewhere.
That's it. That's it.
but that's one of the biggest habits you have to break, because what it really does end up becoming is it ends up becoming a comp game,
Yeah.
and you basically don't behave like a team. You behave like 6 people that don't know each other, and you're doing your own thing. Okay, so point number 1, Oasis University. Let's go back to that. Okay, so Thomas said enemy team is running a style of bunker with double shield, Zen, McCree, Doom. This means that if the Doom gets straight in for a pick, as a brawl team of 6, you should be able to pick him off easily.
Yeah.
As a brawl team of whatever or whoever, you need to engage fast and hard, meaning Lucio. And this is a very good point, yeah. Lucio needs to speed amp straight into the team. In a perfect world, the first target should either be Zen, McCree, or maybe Bap. Main shot caller should call these targets, and the team should collapse into them. If Bap puts Lamp down, make that the first priority, and then Moira Lucio will give you more sustainability than Babsen, especially if you have Coalescence. Does that make sense? So your comp, I'll give a little bit of a side thing. So your comp, Lucio pairs very well with Ryan. Aggression is what will win you fights. Pouncing on people quickly, and basically capitalizing on that. Whereas they have a very sort of sorry, go on. Yep.
As brawl, you can't give them room to react.
So it's pretty much like it's probably going to be like a really bad. It's like goats in an example. So
It's very
just like,
similar to goats, but you don't have nearly as much sustain.
So it's pretty much just like move hard and fast, and don't give them time to react.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
You can't give them time to prepare, but like there are some times when you can't really help it. Like say you lose a fight.
So one of my favorite teams is NYXL. And if you remember the if you remember one of the near the end of last season, it was the in thing to bring out, like just before the end of the season, is the in thing to bring out Bastion, and Double Shield. Yep. So what NYXL did was they were one of the first teams to implement Bastion on attack in Numbani. They went up the top left hand side, and they did it, and they overran the enemy team. I can't remember what the enemy team was, but they overran them pretty quickly. The enemy team tried to do the same thing, and knowing that what NYXL did was they didn't let them set up on the top left-hand side. They knew they were gathering, and obviously the teams gather together and they go, ready, 3, 2, 1, then they pop out. They didn't let them have that. They basically said, they're gathering, let's go. And so they just jumped them. Like they just went straight in, and because it was not expected, they overwhelmed them and they won the fight very cleanly.
Another key thing to point out is when you're brawling, you need as much information as you can before you can commit to a brawl.
Yeah.
So like, say a Lucio or someone needs to be able to like scout where they're going and where they can be going, and then you can cut them off.
And that's just something as simple as wall riding.
Yeah.
To get information.
Like
D.Va can do it too. D.Va's really big on that.
Okay.
Moira's back there.
Since the boosters have been shortened.
Okay. Pre-planning isn't specific. Let's play for the wall in inverted commas. Playing for the wall is a decent idea. Sorry, I assume you mean Bay. Playing for the wall is a decent idea. However, what are you doing with the wall? Yeah, there was some really bad wall. Hanamura is a very good example. Actually, I'll take you to that in a second. What are you doing with the wall? Calls and pre-planning needs to be concise and specific. I'm gonna take you to Hanamura because there was a very good example of that on when you guys were on defense.
Yeah.
It was actually quite funny.
That was probably the most scuffed map of the night. To be honest, it got to a point where we were pretty much just YOLOing it.
You attacking?
Yeah, the whole video should
Oh,
be
yeah.
attack. I think
Oh,
it's
right.
The other Hanamura video.
It's like, where's the bit where you're defending? Okay. What's your Mei wall usage? Not to pick on Mei, but to highlight Tama's point.
Oh no, I'm significantly retarded here. Just like ignore this seconds.
But also, okay, also look at their Mei wall usage. Okay,
Yeah.
so that kind of made sense a little bit, I guess.
Because I die straight away.
That kind of, I guess I can kind of see what you're trying to do.
I threw the fight.
There is just throwing Mei walls. And then you throw up a Mei wall again here. Boom. Now you use in this particular case, what you said was, I'm throwing up the Mei wall so that you guys can, recover and heal. But also, like this game sense is very important here. You can see that they're quite far back. They're respawning. They're not going to be attacking in the near future. If they do, it's probably going to be suicide. Like they might only be able to throw 2 or 3 bodies at you.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. Okay. All right. I'll keep playing that. You can watch your Mei wall usage while I look at the next point. There is a distinct lack of ult tracking from supports or anyone in general in terms of comms. After every single fight, ults should be checked. As a team, you need to have the knowledge of what ults the enemy team has and what ults you have to use. Ult tracking should be done before planning starts to take their ults and your ults into account. Again, similar to win conditions and ult tracking, this is a similar overlap point, but very, very good. Ult tracking and choosing which ults to use can also assist with a team's ultimate economy. Going back to the example of 52 faces, just to make that point interesting, when we were on attack, we got the first 2 points very quickly, and then they had an ult advantage. They had 5 ults. We only had 2. Our 2 ults were Mei and Trance. And the mistake that we made was that we waited for them. We were just pushing the cart, and we waited for them to respawn and come out to meet us. We should have understood that they had a distinct advantage in ults. And the only way to overcome that distinct advantage was to take the fight to them first. Or not the only way, but one of the best ways. Especially because they have to come out through one of 2 exits on the final point of... it's King's Row, sorry. On the final point of King's Row. We really needed to be aggressive. And we might have been able to cap all 3 points very quickly. Anyway. Next point, going back to Oasis University, if the Rhine is going up as the stairs at 104, let's have a look. Okay. I'll just pause it and I'll read this out first so you guys can see it. If that Rhine is going upstairs to stairs, up as the stairs, you need to call it and push him the second you recognize it. This leads to what is basically a free pick. I'll start playing it now. Lucio was also frontlining the entire enemy team. The main shot caller or Lucio should recognize an isolated target, i.e. Rhine, and speed on to him. So I think when he's saying the Lucio, he's referring to Roku. This would have been a cleaner fight. Okay, cool. That's pretty straightforward. Both DPSs attempted to take out Doom at 110. Let's go back to 110. Okay. Let me just read it. Both DPSs attempted to take out Doom at 110, whoever extended to help his Rhine get back. In turn, Doom burnt all of his abilities, trying to do so, and is now isolated. As a team, you should push that down. You're a brawl comp, not a pick or dive comp. It's the same concept as GOATs, almost. You push and fight as 6. In some cases, Reaper can split from the team, going for flanks and going for flank plays due to his escapability, but that would hide would hide trying for a pick when the enemy team attempts to engage. Okay, so here, yeah. Okay, next one. The Moira should nearly never be out of heals. Okay, so you touched on this briefly, Tama. As Moira, the vital point of your 4 different things is to do as a player is to be able to manage heal and damage. Tap right click relatively fast or bind scroll wheel down or up to right click. Get charged much faster. I didn't know this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's literally how like people sustain forever as Moira.
We'll definitely be doing that.
Yup.
It's so good to know.
I don't know about scroll wheel. I think scroll wheel and stuff is not allowed in like Overwatch League and contenders.
Yeah.
I think it's
I mean-
still allowed locally.
Yeah. I jump with scroll wheel. I'm far too used to that, so I'll just spam.
You jump with scroll wheel.
Yeah, man. I'm a CS.
Scrolling, well, yeah, that's a CS thing, but like scrolling down to like do right clicks as Moira is probably the fastest way to get heals, but right clicking just really fast is still alright.
I was gonna say, is that so? What I did there is Diva when the McCree had high noon. Is that
Wait, go further back,
this is just one thing I wanted to ask. So is that so when a McCree has high noon, is it better for me to like take face for it?
Let me watch that again. So
You mean like you want to face tank the high noon?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you have Matrix up?
I had Matrix, but I ran out because he.
Yeah, I mean that's very good. At the very least, you've booped him away. He doesn't have line of sight on anyone except you.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that could happen? You lose your mech.
Yeah.
Well, you lose your mech first anyway. Yep. I think that was fine.
Yeah.
Any comments, Tama?
Not really. It's actually a decent play.
The Lucio isn't really using wall riding to their advantage in combat. You should be constantly on a wall above the enemy and in aura range of your team. This will allow you to get more damage in, prevent you from dying. I think that's the point he was making earlier about getting headshots from being above head level. Yeah.
I was looking at Lucio's ability, and it seems to be just an AoE, like a cylinder.
It's just an LOS like AoE ability.
Yeah.
I've lost the. Okay, this will allow you the wall riding at a high level. This will allow you to get more damage in, prevent you from dying more often. Yeah, because the enemy team is not looking at you. Also, if they run an Orisa and she has a pull up 100% of the time, you will die if you play aggressive and she pulls you. That's the same for Winston, Doomfist, a lot of these dive in and dive out heroes. If they got a good Orisa, just play more passively when their pull is up, and go more aggressive when with your team when the pull is down. However, you should not front line nearly at all as Lucio. Yeah. Don't be a Reddit Lucio.
Aw.
Reddit when you're confident, but don't Reddit right now.
Yeah. Okay, 141. Doom overextends and tries to kill Mei. Your team should either be all there to correct.
I ripped it out because they regrouped weirdly. Because I couldn't tell if they regrouped or they just split up as 2. Like right there.
Let's have a look. Oh, right. That was dumb of them. Maybe they thought they had a slight advantage.
That's pretty much what I wrote at the end as a summary.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, yeah, it's good that you recognize that, because a lot of people walk away going, "Yeah, we won. We know what we're doing. Our shit worked." like
if only I knew what I was doing. Holy shit, that'd be incredible. I'd be top 500 right now.
Okay, next point was let's use Mei ult first. Yeah, okay. Very good point. Let's use Mei ult first. You need to say that before you actually go in, not during or as you go in. Also, the fact that your team as a whole has an ult track means that you don't actually know how many ults they have. In this case, they nearly had 6. when you call that. You may have needed more than just a Mei ult. Okay, we have 6 ults. This is in inverted commas. So this is something that you guys said. Yet this is right now. You similar. I think you after you lost this fight, you came into the next fight saying you've got 6 ults. Okay, so we have 6 ults. Yet you haven't ult tracked and realize that the enemy team still has 5 ults to use and actually is not too far away from the 6th. Ults should be cycled in a way that you almost never have 6 ults ready to use at once. That's a very good point. Okay, unless you're absolutely dominating and never have to use ults. If you're going back and forth and you haven't used ults, then there's a good chance that you're not that you're waiting maybe too long to use ults, or you're waiting for too perfect an opportunity.
I just put it down like earlier, or I think later on, I put it down as like Moira should be using her ult at least once every fight because you'll get it so fast.
Literally the next point, yeah. Moira should, yeah. It's one of those almost like a throwaway ult. Moira should try to use her ult once every fight. It is very easy to charge up ult, almost to the point of being called throwaway ult. I did not read that before, so you didn't trademark it. Moira ult can still be used to turn the fight. Examples of this: Coalescence can be used when you run out of heals, and the team is still fighting, or as you start a fight, to give the team more sustainability at the start of the fight. Very good, especially if they're running double shield or even a single shield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Moira is also a really good way to force out mistakes.
Tends to split people off as well.
Yeah, because I remember an old double shield like Orisa Sigma when it was like meta properly. A lot of the calls would just be pull co, and then you force out mistakes.
Yeah.
And then you can just hard in as Doom.
When a bat places a window down, there are either 2 choices. You either push past the window, or you play out of its sight. Very simple. The team has conflicting calls when the Ryan is already in and someone says to play back. In this case, the team as a whole should have pushed past the window and broken lamp. It's an easy pick on Zen and bat potentially. Yeah, that's definite. So if you're too far away, just back away. Like if you can't walk past it without taking too much damage. But if you're right in front of it, just walk past it. So quite simple. Team needs to be able to recognize the lost fight. Yeah, there's a couple of times you actually there was no benefit really to it, and you actually drew out a fight. I think it was Oasis, and there was a bit where I think it might have been this actually. Let me see if I can.
There's an instance when they use
Lucio
Blossom and Shadow. No, not Lucio beat. I think that's later on, different map.
Okay. There was a map that I saw where there were 3 of you versus I think 4 or 5. It was definitely lost. Like there's no way you would have been able to get picks on them, short of you having godly aim. And I think you decided to beat, again, not picking on you, but I think you decided to beat. So you were committing things when the fight should have. You should have just given up and just died, and reset. Have a look at your plays, all of you, and yeah. Okay, so anyway, to finish off that, team needs to recognize the lost fight. You throw away Reaper ult to try to turn the odds, but simply ended up losing the fight anyway. Someone needs to be able to call lost fight the moment they realize it's a lost fight, and then everyone obviously should respond. Moira should not use all her heals, then orb. You should instead orb and heal at the same time. So that's the orb heal and normal heal at the same time, boosting healing potential to insane levels.
Yeah, and just tapping left click, yeah, like lots of tapping.
I don't tend to tap left click a lot mid fight because it's really slow, that 50 HP it gives you. So it's like
just
a
topping people off outside of combat. Like
you do it to top people off, and you can do it to pre-charge just before a fight.
And how long does it linger again? 3 seconds.
About that long.
Cool.
The Mei should not have stalled for that long. Instead, you have it at 80%. And okay, let's have a look at that. So
Biotic Grasp is 4 seconds on the healing.
Let's see.
65 health over 4 seconds.
Oh, maybe it's further up. Okay, anyway, it says the Mei should not have stalled for that long. Instead, you have it at 80%. You can have it at 80% and die. Sorry, this causes your team to basically try and contest it when it was a 5v6. I think he's talking about this here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right here. I believe one of my coaches put it as like the point of no return on a control map is 85%. Once you have 85%, you have to rush point.
Never thought
So
about
before 85%, you still have a chance to regroup. Afterwards, you have to rush it in.
Isn't
Yeah, so I think his point was it was below 80, a little bit below 85. So you had a chance.
The enemy's at 81, but then the Mei stall, and then
yeah. These team fights seem to be more which team takes the most. Yeah, okay. The team fights seem to be more about who makes the most mistakes instead of who forces out the most mistakes. Okay. Oasis City Center. That is Oasis City. Okay. Let's queue it up and then I'll read this. So you take high ground first, which is a decent play. However, the enemy team nearly instantly concedes, doesn't even try to play high ground, even though they have an Ash. This means instead of holding high ground, you need to drop down and apply more point pressure. You have nearly. Oh, okay. I think I mentioned this as well. You have nearly no one that can play high ground there. Realistically, only Mei can. She needs to play closer to her team instead of holding high ground. It's better to simply drop down and prepare for an amp speed into Brawl. Point number 2 is if Doom is hard inside of the 6 of you, he should nearly 100% of the time die, not pick off one of you. If an enemy team is right next to you, burn them. You have a Reaper. Yeah, so you need to get really aggressive. You got a really good comp for getting aggressive on them. Like people like, for example, Ash have to maintain distance a little bit. Like her kit is about maintaining distance. Okay, your attention as a team is all over the place. You shouldn't target multiple things at once. They just won't die. It doesn't matter if another target is low or whatever. If the shot caller calls a target, you go hard on it. If someone counter calls that an enemy is really low, if someone counter calls that an enemy is really low and within fighting distance, switch to that target. It's much easier to win by having 6. It's much easier to win by having 6v1s. Oh, yeah, sorry. To have 6v1s than to have 6 1v1s. You alt track and recognize that BAP has ult, and others are getting close to the ult. So it's a plus that you were alt tracking. First of all, this alt track is too slow. Okay, so you're not aware of exactly like they had a. Is that what you meant, that they actually had more of an alt charge?
No, I meant more in the case of like they kind of like said that they had BAP ult kind of halfway as they're pushing into engage.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean? Like they're just too slow in calling an alt track.
Okay, right. Yeah.
The moment you realize a fight is going lost, you call alt track. What do they have?
All this time is it should not be wasted. All this time right here.
There's a level of like, I believe just called like dead silence. You can't have dead silence in a team fight, or in any case. In a whole match, you can't have dead silence.
Okay, if the Ash is above you and the team cannot afford to engage and pick her off or is unable to, simply ignore her. Focus on the other 5 first. She cannot do the work of 6 people. Make the other targets on the ground a higher priority than she is. This is I want to point out really quickly Rialto.
It's more of a thing that like you apply against Pharah, but you can still apply it in other cases as well.
Yeah, well, this is Shh. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm going to skip forward this bit. Okay, so I must have watched this like 4 times over. So you're going in you got a choice similar to Ash. You've got Farah that's up here, top left-hand corner, peppering you, and actually ends up splitting off some of you. And McCree's ends up dying. Meanwhile, the rest of the team have pushed forward. So you either need to deal with pharmacy first, or you need to push these guys as 6 and not have your focus divided over the 2. It's because of that you end up getting really nothing. Like you don't have enough power to burn these guys down, and you've exposed yourself long enough that these guys kill you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, going back to Oasis City Center. 249. There is absolutely zero reason. There's absolutely zero reason to use beat. Oh, okay. I think this is it. Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, this isn't the one I was referring to. But let's have a look at that again.
The only reason I see the beat being used is because they use like Orisa ult. But even so, there's like no point because they're all frozen anyways.
And Bongo will outlast beat.
That and like you also shatter, which is also inefficient because they're already being frozen. You don't need to stun them more.
I think you guys end up calling shortly after this that you used 4 ults.
Yep.
You all gathered yourselves after the fight, which is good, and we're tracking your ults. But that's the bit where you can hear it in your voices. Oh, we used 4 ults. Yeah. Okay. Realistically, you should have won with May Coalescence. Both Shatter and Beat were wastes. Okay, the support should also call. Last point. The support should also call when you have lost one or both supports. Most of the time, when both supports are dead, realistically, relatively early into a fight, it's lost. Yeah, you should back out. This is my number one gripe, especially if I'm main tanking and I'm focusing on trying to keep a front line. My eyes are not always keeping track of who's
You
dying.
can't do 360s the entire time.
Yeah, so like just saying I'm dead, you only have one support, you only have Lucio as a heal, it automatically cautions the entire team to play more defensively.
I think I called that a few times. I usually try to call when I die.
Yeah, I usually try to do the same.
But also
in these fucking matches though.
Make sure. I mean, maybe it's just me, but make sure you also call out. Like, if you say stuff like "I'm dead,"
that's not concise.
Yeah.
It's not like.
Yeah, I usually say just one healer is dead or one healer
You
alive.
usually what Sultan and I used to do. When I died, he would say like, "Oh, Amwer is dead. You only have Lucio or something." And
Yeah.
If Lucio dies, I say that, and if we both die, we just yell, "We have no supports."
Yeah.
That's usually how I try to call it.
Cool. Well, focus on like what I would suggest you do. This is what's going to define. There's nothing stopping you guys from growing as a team and becoming top tier GM players. Okay, what is going to determine how quickly you improve, though, is the focus of your scrims. So it frustrates me to know when I'm involved in a scrim and it's just competitive again. It's just like did we not learn from last scrim? Yeah. So go into your next scrim whenever it is. You don't have to have the 50 points that we've all discussed. Just have 2 or 3 points that you are personally taking on board. So let's say it's I don't know, the shot caller. Shot caller should always figure out okay, today my goal is I'm going to alt track, as an example, and I'm going to figure out when I need to push push them quickly or hold back. So that might be your goal for the game. You don't have to have 50 goals. Just focus on that.
Do we have a shot caller, by the way? Is there a designated person?
I don't think it's designated.
Your shot caller doesn't necessarily have to alt check. Just
Yeah.
general.
Sorry. Yeah. What I meant by that was I meant like
I know what you mean though.
yeah, making a call off ults. So
Yeah.
You're like planning. You're fight planning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Is
should
there-
get someone to just be
just-
designated guy.
Because I know in old 52 Faces we all split up calls in order of priority. So like the main tank, he would handle basic like pre-planning fights, but he would not completely handle it. He handles all the mid-fight stuff. Main supports shot calling, like pre-planning and ult trekking. And then the rest of the team is just there to help. Like in terms of like if we missed a couple of ults, we just go over it.
So you just asked when our next scrim is. While we've been talking, I've been organising scrims, so I'll just pop it into announcements just to see what our timetable.
Sweet.
awesome. I think
Calendar.
there's two. Okay, so main tank is a good person. Like, okay, there's nothing saying
That a DPS.
it must be like this. There's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But main tank is sometimes the shot caller because he's the one that knows when to push and when to fall back.
He pretty much dictates half the fight.
Yeah.
And then you could have a case like Custer with the LA Valiant, where he was the shot caller, I think, at some point, because he's at the back and he sees the entire fight.
Yeah, so that's my strength is just like catching people's positions and letting people know. Just like if other people like wouldn't see it, but I wouldn't know how to like orchestrate a fight and like what ults to use and when.
As Moira, like if you play it, like if you're, say if it was like a hard Moira meta, as Moira you don't have much to do aside from push basically 4 different buttons at once
Yeah.
and not die. That's your main goal. So a lot of like people or a lot of like high level players that play Moira a lot, they won't, instead of like focusing it all on mechanics, they'll just try and think, because a lot of the time, like it happens to all main tanks and all shot callers. They'll eventually run out of ideas, right?
Yeah.
As a team, you need to give them ideas, and as Moira, you have the most time to think because you're pushing 4 buttons.
Yeah, I see.
I mean,
You're right.
yeah.
You're right.
You're not wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, there's not much aim in it, Like it's sort
You're
of like
literally,
vicinity.
you're literally wiggling your mouse and holding down left
Yeah,
click or right
yeah.
click and pushing shift if you hear a doom coming at you. That's all.
Yeah, look, I know what you mean.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Hey, I played-
personally
I played
attacked.
Moira for a whole minute, okay? Like I wanted to die.
That was beautiful.
Oh man, I love playing old Moira though.
Seriously, I'm feeling personally attacked right now.
I played Moira for the entire meta when it was a thing. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Moira is great though.
See, I play Moira here and there, like hence why I didn't know the like abilities and how they worked.
she's pretty much you pick it up eventually, and then it's really
Yeah.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good videos out there that teach you little tricks for each hero. Especially if you're starting to get familiar with a hero, I like Karku's videos. He does this like one trick for every hero or whatever. Yeah, that's a good place to start. If
Does
you
he do the 1v1 videos too? Like what to do as each hero against each
Yeah.
hero?
yeah.
Yeah, those are I watch those a bunch.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I did not watch this.
Oh no. Oh no, it's this one.
I was playing Mercy. I never played Mercy.
Yeah, I cannot play Mercy to save my life.
Yeah, me neither.
Seriously?
Out of my entire
Me
hero
neither.
pool, which is every single support in McCree, I can't play Mercy.
See, what is the support I can't play?
So the funniest thing, what the coach that had on my last team made me buy a new account and one trick Mercy to fix my awareness, because I was very much.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I ended up peaking at 3.2k just by one tricking Mercy.
Well, people say it like it's a bad thing, but I have a lot of respect for one trick Mercies because I just cannot get her. I just do not understand.
And imagine
I
the amount
copped a lot
of
of
shit
abuse.
you must go through.
Mercy is
Oh,
so
I
easy.
copped
It's
a lot of abuse, and I'm just like,
Well,
actually,
it's like that, and you literally cannot help it if you lose. Like it's just
Exactly.
because they're better.
Yeah.
Like of course there are instances where you're just straight up Garbo as Mercy. I don't know how, but
Bad positioning.
That's probably me.
Really
Yeah,
bad
positioning's a
positioning.
lot of it. Positioning is a lot.
Mercy is a lot of positioning and comms. That's the only way you can really help your team.
Yeah.
Like a bad Mercy is silent all the time. Like you can know when to heal and boost, but if you're not communicating things, you're basically throwing his Mercy, in my opinion. Like if you're gonna play
That's a
Mercy,
lot of
you have to
supports
be-
though. You have to comm constantly and keep up. It's like people with like our hard escapes, like Ana. Like you have to understand when is a good spot and when is not a good spot, and how to understand how to like, am I safe here?
Mm-hmm.
Like the point I make with Ana is like she might only have one eye, but you have to play as if you have 9 eyes.
Yeah, she only has one eye.
Like she might be like one of the least aware people in the game in terms of only having one eye, but you have to be the most aware person like playing the game.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I just play Zen and Ana. I get what you mean.
I mean, I think Lucio.
Zen is it too. Like if you're playing dive comp and a monkey solo dives because he's I don't know retarded like back in 2017 for me, I just trans and just run on my team because I'm meme him out.
Flexing trances are the best trances.
Oh mate,
If your team can't appeal for you, there's only one way to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Did that so many times back in the day.
Yeah, cool. Any like I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, there's not much. It's just aside from like mechanical skill, but you have to learn that on your own. We can't really help you.
I mean, we can look at POV stuff. Do you want us to have a look at your POV stuff, DPS Lucio? I noticed there's another video in the.
It's just in the VODs channel, hey? Yeah.
We could just loosely go over it, and I mean, it's up to you guys. Like, I don't know what your attention span is. You guys might be tired now. Still got another half an hour, but if you want to go, okay.
I mean, everyone
this
apart
is
from
basically morning for you, isn't it?
Everyone but me and Benchwarmer over here.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm still up to like 1, 2 a.m. most mornings, so this is like relatively early for me.
Yeah. 9:30 is not
This
late.
is like 5 a.m.
mate,
5 p.m. for normal
I've
people.
got work tomorrow, and I've been off sick from work for 2 days. So
Yeah, you should probably go to bed, hey?
yeah, I need to go and like have a shower,
Good ideas.
not be gross.
Cool. I wanted to make the comment that I was really impressed that you could type and move at the same time, and then I realized you were recording it. It's like, wow.
Proud of your skill.
Reaper's really good for flanking. So in this particular case, I might have suggested that you went left and then tried to shoot behind. Yeah.
Yeah, you could see him. The gears turning.
This is
And
good,
also-
chasing him down and taking.
When you do like a brawl and like say you win the fight and they're setting up for another engagement, there's a thing my old DPS used to call, which was called the unjuicy play. And all you would do is you hide in in a corner, like at a point where you think they're gonna come out of, right? And you wait for most of them to come out and try and pick one off, or you call unjuicy so your team knows that like, oh, you're ready to start trying to assassinate one. They can push in as well, and then it devolves into a fight, but a fight that you have an advantage of.
Mm.
But that's a higher up thing. I think you have to solve most of your major issues first, and then you can learn that.
Oh, the disrespect. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Hey, just be aware of again, Kaki videos are good at this, maybe. But just be aware of how your hero stacks against other heroes. There's a lot of like, I don't know if I would have bothered doing long, like kind of medium range fights with Ana at the beginning of that whole thing. You might get lucky and if they're low and get a pick, but I don't know. That's just me. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. So like that, for example, you really want to close distance. Your kit is designed to close distance. So coming back to Wizard Hyung, one of the things he told me was very interesting. He said when he was with NYXL, he got his assistant coach to, well, actually not assistant coach, it was just an assistant to that's not bad.
That was that's an unluckers, my dude.
Yeah.
Poor
He got him
Hanzo.
to basically sit down and watch all the high level I think it must have been league plays. Okay, that was just not thought out. Anyway, actually, I guess it doesn't really matter given the situation. But anyway, what he was saying was he viewed all the Widow footage and looked at all the fights. I think it was stage 2 or stage 3 in the first year. And then he looked at all the fights and he noticed that 80% of the time that Widow made a difference in the fight was when no one was looking at her. So I want you to think of that in terms of your hero use, especially when it comes to DPS. How to get into a place where no one's looking at you. And then, like, just imagine if you're Widow, if your mechanical aim is semi-decent, in theory, you should have at least 1 kill before they notice where you are, in theory, right? So, yeah, think about that. That's good. You're taking a flank. And always when you flank, they're not shooting at you because they're shooting at the main part of the team.
Realistically, you should have closed the distance harder there before you started shooting. Or you can keep closing distance because you're not doing enough damage.
Let's see these head clicks.
That's okay. It's always. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Are you not aiming at head height right now? I don't think he is.
I think he was just trying to sneak around. Is that what you meant?
Even so, it should be like a general habit. Like if
okay, yep.
If you're a hard CS player, you should understand that head height is the number one thing you do.
Yeah.
Well, learning how to keep a thing at like general head height. So what I like to do if I'm on Kree, although I never play Kree, I'm a support player for Christ's sake. But as like Kree, what you try and do is you try and keep your head height as like, and imagine like a Kree in front of you and keep it at his head height.
Okay, so what I would have liked to see here is I wanted you to stay up top left and come around to where the bell is. Or no, the bell, the gong, yeah. Because you see here, look, they're shooting, and they're not really even shooting at you, and you end up getting down to half, simply because they're just spamming in your general direction. Whoa, look at those repetitive clicks. 5 clicks. So this position's not bad. Just need to be aware of where the enemy team is as well. Like I would be checking on the left. You don't want them to suddenly rush you, and then you're like, oof. Hey, what happened there?
He got
Oh,
killed
he
by the enemy
ulted.
Kree. Yeah.
Another possibility, especially if you want to use High Noon, is to flank right behind them. Tell your team, back up, back up, back up. Act like, they're going to kill us, back away. And then the other team will smell blood and chase after. And hopefully you can get a nice fat high noon from behind.
Oh, McCree, he's a bit hard because you're playing the juggle. You're juggling between, like, it might not like work in this instance because they're not running like dive, but you're just juggling in between. You're helping your supports peel, and you're kind of flanking and trying to get a pick. Like, I haven't seen many instances where he's played, so I can't really help.
Pine does flank as McCree like crazy, NYXL Pine, when he was.
Yeah, but that's because he can just like Chad his way through.
Yeah,
He just has the big dick energy.
exactly. He just literally flops it out on every team. Doesn't matter who you are.
Okay, going Widow. Cool.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, the Widow.
Miss being able to play Widow.
Get better. You'll be fine.
Well, you could possibly play her now just because shield comp's not super
Nothing.
prevalent.
Oh no, I just
Ooh, spicy boys.
Mhm.
I don't flank as McCree, but I flank as Widow. And no one's healing you. How rude.
That's typical.
She didn't even top you off.
Why is mine there?
Okay, Sombra wants to be sneaky. Or Reaper wants to tell you.
So just in case.
If
They don't have either of those.
I know, but that's
not
what
a
I
Genji,
could-
most likely the Genji sneak attack from me.
I'm not a Widow player, and generally when I DPS, I find it very uncomfortable when I'm standing still. But it may serve you when they're not looking at you, and they're not stand still. Yeah, and then maybe you might get more shots. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, it's like if they're not pressuring you.
And you don't really need to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have that nervous energy as well. Like I just don't like standing still because I'm always expecting someone to come up from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have built up a rhythm when I play Ana that I jump and click every time, so it's harder to hit me.
It's actually
It's-
easier to hit.
It's
Yeah.
actually easier.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
If you
it's
jump in a
easier to hit
predictable
on.
Jumping
path.
makes you more predictable.
Because they don't necessarily have to like hit you as you're jumping, but they can hit you
Yeah.
as you're landing because it's really easy. You can't control it.
Yeah, I getcha. I don't know. I
This
just.
isn't Counter Strike.
yeah.
Can't be hop, dude.
I know. I tried to.
You can't flanky, okay? Like,
I don't always do the jump, but sometimes I'm just like sitting there jumping like 10 times in a row.
Oh,
It's like, yeah.
And isn't machine gun on Widow still good? Like,
yeah. I Widow 76 all the time.
yeah.
It's nice.
Spicy boys. Get the Ana. Get her. I know. I just really want you to.
With a quick scope, no scope.
I mean, this is good flank if you apply it to McCree as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just understand your kit. I remember my friend used to tell me never shoot an ulting Mercy. And I realized later on it's because he thought very poorly of my aim.
See, that's why I always just use Deadeye on Mercy, because they never expect it. And for some
Yeah.
reason, they all fly up.
That's good restraint. Oh.
Nice.
Cool. All right. That's all I got for you guys.
Sick.
Cool.
Any final questions?
Aw.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking
Some cute shit. That's what you're talking about.
about. Lucky he wasn't X-rated. Yeah. Any final comments or questions?
No.
Not anything that like bounces out at me at the moment. But
So, okay, suggestion for each map going forward. So you've got a map pool, and thankfully, because of whatever stars alignment, half the maps that were in Overwatch's pool are not in pools. Are you playing in AOL? Is that your main
Yeah.
comp?
Yeah.
Okay. So before the weekend, and maybe even before your next scrim, whichever comes first, what I suggest you do is just, you don't have to go through all the maps, but maybe just pick, pick, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the main maps, maybe not Koth maps, or Koth, up to you, but just pick a few of them and then just basically say, okay, loosely, this is what we're going to do to attack. I don't want you to go through, okay, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that. Just come up with the idea of either going 3-3 or 3-2-1, and how you're going to attack, and then if you're defending, how you're going to hold it in a split sort of fashion to try and distract them, and just work off that. If you want, you can always message me and ask me, and I can, or Tama, and he can give you feedback as to what comp works. Because obviously, for example, you would want a healer with each split, and then you could try it, and I promise you, you'll probably be quite surprised with how much easier it is to win fights. Yeah, because no one does it, even in a high tier. Everyone's still in comp mode in Australia. Cool.
Cool.
sweet as, bro.
All right. Well, see ya. Message me if you need anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, eh?
Will do. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Goodbye.